The Mystara project is proud to present Part 32 of the Places of Mystara series. In this video, we take a look at the island Kingdom of Aeria. Aeria was introduced in the 1989 boxed set, Dawn of the Emperors, in Book 1, the Dungeon Master's Sourcebook, on page 61. Aeria is located 33 degrees north of the equator, in a subtropical region. The Sundsvall meridian bisects the island. It is the northernmost of the Alphatian Islands, located southeast of the Isle of Dawn, and west of the Bay of Alinquin, which separates it from the island of Bellisaria. The Alphatian Sea separates Aeria from the rest of the Alphatian Islands to the south. It owes fealty to the Empire of Alphatia, sharing sea borders with other Alphatian subject kingdoms of Thoshar to the north, and Egos to the southwest. It also has a sea border with the unclaimed waters that accompany the neutral territory of Upper Thoshar. Nearby non-bordering states include the Alphatian kingdoms of Gati to the southeast, and Dawnrim to the east. The Thyacian barony of Caerdwicca lies to the west-southwest. Prior to BC 3000, the island of Aeria was located just within the northern tropic. It is unknown if the Chthonian Empire claimed this rather unproductive island, or if it was perhaps inhabited by the Borga people, probably surviving by fishing and goat herding, or it was uninhabited by sentient beings. The Great Rain of Fire in BC 3000 rotated the world's axis, shifting Aeria about 11 degrees north to its current location. Sometime between BC 1100 and AC 990, Nithians, or their Thoshan descendants, founded the settlements of Teptar, Anumeneh, Tepotepner and Rabistar, on the island of Aeria. Sometime between BC 1000 and AC 550, the island was lightly settled by non-spellcasting common Alphatians, mainly farmers, shepherds, goatherds, and fisherfolk, wanting to get away from the tyranny of Alphatian nobles. Aeria may have hosted a group of spellcasters, known today as the Honor Island Mages. Sometime between AC 601 and AC 643, they fled with their goblin slaves to Honor Island, in the new Kingdom of Aeria. In the 730s AC, Mila Tendel of Arsla's beautification philosophy swept the empire of Alphatia. The emperor decided to use the unimportant and poorly defended Alphatian islands as beautification cultural projects. The Aerean population was rounded up and relocated to Bellisaria and other places within the empire. A university of air magics was constructed in a hilly river valley on the central north coast, and the town of Featherfall grew to service it. Unlike Egos, rival universities of air magics, like the one in Skyreach, did not sabotage this project. Sometime between AC 956 and AC 999, Eichlin the Addled moved from his home city of Arsla to the University of Air Magics in Featherfall. His great intelligence, and ability both to develop and lecture about aerial magic, helped him to be appointed as master of the university. For 9 months of the year, whilst the university is open, the island has a population of 15,000. 5,000 live outside Featherfall, as fisherfolk, farmers struggling in the poor soil, shepherds and goatherds. These rural people are mostly common Alphatians, with possibly some Thoshans in the villages. The 10,000 in the town of Featherfall comprise 5,000 visiting students, of which 4,000 return to their overseas homes during winter. The other 5,000 comprise university staff, alumni and townsfolk who provide services to the university. In addition to the majority common Alphatians, the university also has pure Alphatians, Thoshans, some Shia elves, perhaps a few dwarven and gnomish specialists, and possibly a few foreigners. Aeria has the same social classes present throughout the Alphatian Empire, but is more permissive of non-spellcasters. Slaves are the lowest social class in Aeria. Player characters will never start as slaves. The class is hereditary. Commoners can be sentenced to be their victim's slave, for being found guilty of insolence to a noble of prince rank or higher, rape of a noble, or theft of more than the value of 1,000 GP. Noble magic users and elves can only be made slaves, if found guilty of raping or murdering a noble, or treason. They are then feeble-minded, so they are unable to cast magic, which is a slavery requirement. If the victim was another slave or a servant, ownership of the slave is awarded to their superior. The offspring of slaves are recorded as such with a government registry office. Each slave's market value is nominated by their owner and recorded. The value can be periodically changed by the owner. The owner must pay an annual tax based on the value of their slaves. Nobles may legally kill any slave, with the only consequence being payment of the slave's market value to their owner. Slaves cannot own property, must be unable to cast magic, and cannot touch any weapon without their owner's permission, or to defend their owner. Ranking above slaves are servants. Servants have no magical ability, and do not operate a registered business. They must belong to, and serve, a household of someone of freeman status or higher. They may own personal property, but not land or slaves. They are free to move to another household, if accepted by the new household's owner. At a minimum, they receive room and board for their service. Some also receive a salary, which may allow them to save up enough to start their own business. Examples of servants are farmers working for the farm owner, household staff, soldiers of less than commissioned officer rank, shop workers, and adventurers who don't own a registered business. Freemen have no magical ability, but operate a registered business. Registered businesses are required to pay an annual registration fee to the empire. Freemen can live in their own household, own property, and employ servants. Adventurers and commissioned military officers often open small offices for mercenary hire or recruitment as their registered businesses to maintain freeman status. Loss of all registered businesses relegates freemen to servant status. The top social rank of commoners is the gentry. Like all commoners, they have no magical ability. In addition to operating at least one registered business, gentry must maintain at least 10,000 GP in an Alphatian bank. They may own a branch of a registered business, or a registered business with multiple branches. First-level clerics who are part of an order, but cannot yet cast magic, are treated as gentry. Gentry are often permitted to mix with nobles at social events. Nobles all have the ability to cast magic and are subject to a more lenient set of laws and punishments than commoners. The lowest rank of nobility is the aristocrat. The only requirement for this rank is the ability to cast magic. Aristocrats have the right to wear spider silk and the right to attend imperial universities. Commoners address aristocrats as me lord or milady. Lords and ladies are nobles who maintain at least 10,000 GP in an Alphatian bank, and satisfy one more criteria. They must either own a registered business, provide a service, or occupy an imperial office. Examples of imperial offices include ministers, ambassadors, advisors, and military officers. In Aeria, non-spellcasters may be lords or ladies. Commoners must refer to them as lord or lady. The next rank of nobility comprises the princes and princesses. They are the sons and daughters of emperors, empresses, kings, and queens. Commoners must address them by title. Nobles usually only address them by title, if it seems they are destined to rule. This subjective judgment may lead to a charge of insolence against the noble, by the offended prince or princess. On Aeria, princes and princesses may be non-spellcasters. It is not known if the unnamed king of Aeria has any children. King or queen is the highest rank in Aeria. It is hereditary, with the heir nominated by the monarch. Non-spellcasters may attain this rank. Monarchs may rule only one kingdom. Subdivision of their kingdom is not recognized without imperial approval. Monarchs must be addressed by those lower than prince status, as king or queen, or your majesty. For the purposes of this video, we shall name the king of Aeria, Wickwo, a 19th level magic user, aged 43. Alphatian is the common tongue on Aeria. Some may speak Thoshan. Students, alumni and lecturers may speak Elvish, tongues of creatures from the plane of air, or other Mystaran languages. Some of the non-university residents of Featherfall may speak Dwarven or Gnomish. The dominant culture is Alphatian, however in Featherfall, it is quite scholastic. The local Aerian commoners can find some of the scholarly mannerisms quite insufferable. Aeria is subject to imperial law, which defines the social classes and how people can move between them, including succession laws. It sets out imperial taxes and their collection. It prohibits the wearing of spider silk by non-nobles. Disputes between magic users are to be settled via supervised duels, to avoid a repeat of Alphax's folly that led to the war which destroyed old Alphatia. Slaves must be registered at a declared value from the age of 12. Worship of Alphax is illegal. Low justice applies to commoners, and the more forgiving high justice applies to nobles. Crimes against nobles carry greater punishments than crimes against commoners. Punishment for theft or fraud increases in proportion to the value stolen. Punishments take the form of fines, lashes, confiscation of property, demotion of social class, temporary confiscation of spellbooks, permanent feeble-minding of intelligence-based casters, and death. Judicial proceedings are held in Featherfall's courthouse building. The accused is presumed innocent unless the evidence suggests otherwise. ESP is used in criminal cases, resulting in swift and accurate judgments on almost all occasions. General skills in Aeria span common occupations and subjects taught at the university. Fishing, sailing, farming, crafting, horse riding and herding skills are learnt by commoner Aerians. At the university, planar geography, especially of the plane of air, magical engineering, alternate magics, piloting flying vessels, alchemy, and plane of air languages can be learnt. Those joining the Home Guard don't receive much training, but they could develop military tactics, bravery, intimidation, alertness, mapping, navigation, signaling, tracking, survival in grasslands, forests or hills, and leadership. Entertainments for the commoners include hardball, with the local Aerian Cyclones team, pub crawling in taverns with fast-paced music and ballads, and gambling, especially on hardball games. Air wizards often put on public displays, like summoned air elemental duels, and weather control contests. Crowds also gather to watch magical aerial experiments, some of which humorously fail. Aeria uses imperial standard currency, comprising the gold crown, the silver mirror and the copper judge. Currency exchange fees are 5%, and double that rate for gems and treasure. Aeria does not produce enough food to feed itself, so it is imported from places like Belisaria. Common meals consist of fish, bread, cheese, vegetables, lamb and mutton. Aeria exports air magic knowledge and research, with university fees costing in the thousands of crowns per year. Income tax is 15%, but adventuring income is exempt. The island covers 49,384 square miles, with tough durable tracts of pine forest in the west, surrounded by lighter forest. The settlements are mainly at river mouths, like Anumeneh in the southwest, Teptar in the northwest, Featherfall in the north, and Rabistar in the southeast. The Midwest comprises some farmlands with poor soil. The central north consists of grassy hills for the grazing herds. The Mid-East contains light pine forest and more grassy hills. More poor-soiled farmlands lie in the northeast. Semi-arid grasslands cover the southeast and far east coasts. Travel across the island is mainly on goat trails. Most travel is undertaken by boat. Aeria is not on the main international shipping lanes that run through the western Sea of Dawn. It does have 3 minor shipping lanes. One goes east to Alinquin, one links with the southern Isle of Dawn lane to the northwest, and one links with the other Alphatian islands to the south. Aeria's daytime maximum temperatures range from 60 to 85 degrees Fahrenheit. It rains at least every second day throughout the year, with winter being the driest season. In summer, it rains 3 out of every 5 days. The dominant wind is from the northeast, and the dominant current is from the east. Extreme climate conditions are usually controlled by the air wizards. The main feature of the island is the University of Air Magics, in Featherfall. It is widely considered to be the seat of scholastic learning for the Alphatian followers of the air. It is a large university, with a very pretty campus. Its library contains more information on the plane of air than anywhere else in the known world. General magic is taught, but air magic is of course the specialty of this campus. Staff, students and alumni know common spells, common Alphatian spells, and some more obscure air-related spells, like Featherfall. Aeria is a semi-autonomous hereditary kingdom, owing fealty to the Empire of Alphatia. The king rarely admits audiences, preferring to concentrate on his magical studies. A seneschal effectively runs the kingdom. Policies revolve around the best interests and success of the university. There is a rivalry with the University of Air Magics in Skyreach, and they would dispute that Featherfall is the seat of learning for the followers of air. Skyreach focuses on magic to maintain the floating islands, in terms of positioning and protection. They also specialize in permanent spells, a relationship with the Jinn realm of Samar on the plane of air, and flight and gravity-based magic. Skyreach also boasts a skyship academy. The rivalry is not malicious. The Alphatians are cognizant of Alphac's folly that led to the destruction of their original home world. The Glantrian secret school of air elementalists, which is dominated by pure Alphatians from the Principality of Blackhill, are rivals to Featherfall's University. It is not known if the University of Air Magics is aware of the secret school, but they may have encountered disciples in the plane of air. As Alphatians, the Glantrian air disciples are able to blend in when in Featherfall, to try to gain new knowledge to get an edge over their rivals. The Thyacian Collegium Arcanium may also be interested in gaining aerial magical knowledge from Featherfall's University. Common Alphatians from the Western Isle of Dawn are able to blend in well in Aeria to achieve this goal. Alphatians are not regular attendees of temples, but they do honor some immortals. Among the rural Aryans, Ra-Zud, the patron of self-sufficiency, is a popular immortal. Among those of Thoshan descent, Ra, the sun immortal, is popular, especially in the village of Rabastar, which may also follow the Rakasta immortal, Bastet. In Featherfall, the immortal Alphatia, Koryis, patron of peace and prosperity, and Palatarkan, patron of Alphatian air wizards, have followings. Featherfall is likely to host the guild headquarters for thieves, farmers, herders, crafters, fishers, and teachers. And a bank, where gentry and above can maintain their minimum account balances to retain their social class. Aeria follows the imperial Alphatian calendar. The main dates of importance in Featherfall are the opening and closing days of the university. Classes begin in early spring on the 15th of Alphamere, or Thormont in Thyacian. Classes end 9 months later in early winter, on the 15th of Berrimere, or Caldmont in Thyacian. About 4,000 of the 5,000 students return to their overseas homes for the winter break. Now we shall hear 4 people's opinions of Aeria, Belt Sigga, a tavern rogue from Crossroads, on the island of Greater Ne'erdo-well, the floating R wizard and explorer, Admiral Haldemar of Harken, Jugdima, a Featherfall fisherwoman, and finally Master Eiklin the Addled.
Why would you want to go to Aeria? I've heard it's so boring. Just a load of backwater farmers and pimple-faced students reading books. Sure, they might have nice beaches, but that's not really my scene. The Big Dippa sent a gang there for a job on a wizard's tower. What a disaster. They managed to get in all right, but they were attacked by things they couldn't see, and in one room, they suddenly lifted off the ground, slammed into the ceiling, then crashed back down to the ground. That was enough for them. They called off the job and scarpered.
Aeria, the seat of scholastic learning of the followers of air? Poppycock. Floating are as dozens of wondrous floating islands and mountains. Aeria has failed aerial experiments that crashed to the ground. I was once invited to speak at the university as a guest lecturer. You should have seen their faces, like dim-witted Thyacian barbarians, when I was describing tubular breaches. By the beard of Pigsy Glads, Featherfall has nothing on Skyreach and Sundsvarl when it comes to air magics. The master of their university, Eiklin the Addled, mutters to himself all day. He is very intelligent and a mighty fine lecturer, I will admit. He is probably the only good thing that university is going for it.
Yeah, the view's not bad here. We catch enough fish to get by. Life is peaceful outside of Featherfall. Ugh, that town and its stuck-up students with their fancy-smancy waffle. All they produce is hot air. Monsters? No, we ain't got none of them, except for when those wizards mess up and some strange airy creatures get loose. If you're looking for adventure or lost treasures, you'll be disappointed.
Well, we accept students interested in learning magic, especially air magics. We study the plane of air in detail, and will pay well for any new literature or information about it. We also study the ethereal plane, which we travel through to reach the plane of air. We research all types of air-based magic, and experiment to create aerial magic items and constructs. Ah, that reminds me. I need someone to fetch me some air drake fangs for my project. Anyway, what were we talking about?
Aeria is rather poorly defended, by 2 Home Guard units, totaling 300 personnel. Each unit is commanded by a 5th-level fighter captain, assisted by a 4th-level fighter lieutenant, and 4 Fighter 3 sergeants. 105 troops are 1st-level fighters wearing scale mail, with shields and normal swords. 35 are 2nd-level fighters wearing chain mail, with normal swords and light crossbows. Aeria possibly relies upon its air wizards to use control weather spells to blow invading navies off course. It possibly also relies on Imperial Navy and Sky Navy fleets, patrolling the Alphatian Islands frontier with Thyatis. Aeria was designed to be more of a place to visit from time to time than a permanent campaign base. Except for the university, the island is described as one of the dullest places on Mystara. Magic users, elves, and Wakani may be interested in studying at the university. Other character classes could accompany them to Featherfall, given the prejudice against non-spellcasters is not as acute as it is on the continents of Alphatia and Belissaria. Alphatian temples exist to support clerics, and there would be at least one thieves' guild in Featherfall. Training for fighters can come via a specialized training hall or the Home Guard. For other character classes, there may be less of a support network. University-centered adventures could include tracking down literature about air magics and the plane of air for one of the staff, or alumni. The PCs may also be working for rival organizations, trying to obtain useful information. For higher-level adventures, summoned creatures, or experimental devices could go out of the wizard's control, requiring the PCs to save the day. Companion-level adventures could involve visiting the plane of air to obtain rare knowledge, spell components, or items. In terms of future history, Aeria mobilizes 10 units of Home Guard, but is relatively untouched by the wrath of the Immortals' War. In the winter of AC 1009, when Alphatia sinks, the subsequent earthquakes shake Aeria, claiming the life of the king. It would appear that he has no nominated heir, as Master Eichlin somewhat reluctantly, quietly assumes control as regent. On the 12th of Felmont AC 1010, messengers from Aeria meet with Admiral Helena Daphnatarthius in Aegopoli. They advise that if Thyatis invades Aeria, they will fight with all their might. However, if Thyatis makes Aeria a Grand Duchy, they will assist in teaching them how to build a skyship navy. Daphnatarthius agrees, and Eichlin becomes Archduke of the Grand Duchy of Aeria. On the 7th of Aemont AC 1010, the University of Aeria and Thyacian engineers complete their first prototype skyship. It launches to about 200 feet, then bursts into flames and crashes, killing most of the crew. The ship was sabotaged by Alphatian loyalists. On the 6th of Yarthmont, AC 1011, Aeria experiences earth tremors and is hit by tidal waves, following an earthquake on Aegos. On the 14th of Aemont AC 1011, the newly built Imperial Eagle skyship launches from Featherfall. On the 13th of Claremont AC 1012, Thoshar and Thyatis sign the Isle of Dawn Treaty, in which the latter abandons its claim on Aeria. On the 24th of Claremont, AC 1012, Admiral Helena Daphnatarthius orders the Thyacian 20th Fleet to withdraw from Aeria, in accordance with the Isle of Dawn Treaty. 3 days later, Thyacian deserters from the 20th Fleet disembark from 2 sailing ships, and raid the village of Teptar on Aeria. During these events, the PCs may be working with Alphatian loyalists to sabotage the Thyacian Sky Navy program, or they could be assisting the Thyacians against these saboteurs. This concludes Part 32 of the Places of Mystara series, featuring the island Kingdom of Aeria, home of the University of Air Magics.